Everyone knew him only as the school janitor. But after Emma saw that old photo in his bag, everything changed. A group of soldiers, a historic operation, and a young man standing in the center. He looked so much like Walter, but the photo was so old that it seemed impossible. Could this elderly, quiet janitor really be that hero soldier? Today, I'll share with you the story of history hiding in the corridors of a school and the young teacher who discovered it. Before the video begins, please let me know in the comments which city you're watching from, and if you believe stories like this need to be told, please subscribe. Lincoln Elementary School was a typical elementary school built in 1952 in a small Midwest town. Long corridors, high ceilings, and that familiar school smell. A mixture of pencil shavings, cleaning supplies, and the sandwiches children brought. And in those corridors, the same man had been working for 15 years. Walter Thompson was 89 years old, known for his graying hair, gentle smile, and the same blue overalls he always wore. He'd arrive at 6 a.m. and leave at 6 p.m. He swept the corridors, cleaned the classrooms, and fixed everything that was broken. The children called him Uncle Walter, and the teachers addressed him as Mr. Thompson. He had never married and lived alone in a small house. Nobody knew much about his past. It was only known that he had come to town many years ago, was a reliable man, and did his job perfectly. Emma Rodriguez was 28 years old, a newly graduated teacher. She had started teaching 3rd grade at Lincoln Elementary 2 years ago. She was energetic, curious, and loved children very much. She also had a special affection for Walter because the old man was very kind and patient with children. That Thursday morning, Emma had come to school early as usual. She wanted to prepare for her class. While walking down the corridor, she heard sounds coming from Walter's cleaning room. The door was ajar, so she looked inside. "Good morning, Uncle Walter," Emma said. "You came early." Walter looked up. "Good morning, Miss Emma. I needed to do extra cleaning today. The children made a bit of a mess during art class yesterday." Emma smiled. "I'm sorry. Children sometimes get too excited." "No problem. I was a child once, too." Emma noticed that Walter's bag was open. An old leather bag with the patina of years, and inside there was an old photograph with its corner sticking out. "This bag is beautiful," Emma said. "It looks antique." Walter immediately closed the bag. "It's an old bag, from long ago." But Emma had seen that photo, black and white, worn, and it seemed to be a photo of soldiers. Her curiosity was piqued, but she didn't ask more questions. That day, she couldn't concentrate on her lessons. She kept thinking about that photo. Walter's reaction was also strange. Why had he closed the bag so quickly? During lunch break, Emma found Walter. He was sitting alone at a table in the cafeteria. "Uncle Walter, may I sit next to you?" "Of course, Miss Emma." Emma sat down. "You seemed very rushed this morning." "Rushed? No, I was just focused on my work. That bag is really beautiful." "Where did you find it?" Walter hesitated. "It's from long ago. You could say it's a family heirloom." "Where is your family from?" "East Coast." "Long ago." Emma wanted to ask more questions, but she noticed Walter was uncomfortable. She changed the subject. On her way home that evening, Emma was still thinking about that photo, a photo with soldiers. She calculated Walter's age. If he was 89 years old, he was a young man during World War II. He might have served in the military. The next day, Emma was more careful. She observed Walter. The old man's posture, his walk, his disciplined movements. Yes, he could have had a military past. During lunch break, Emma went to the library. She began researching the town's history. Maybe she could find something about Walter. She went through old newspaper archives. When she got to the 1950s, she found a small news item. "War veteran settles in our town." But no name was given. It only mentioned that a war veteran had come to town. Emma researched more. She checked old school records. Walter Thompson had started work in 1978, so exactly 45 years ago. His references were clean, but there weren't many details about his past. That evening, Emma researched on the internet. She searched for Walter Thompson World War II. Many results came up, but none seemed to match Walter at school. Then she tried a different approach. She looked through World War II photos, Normandy landings, D-Day operation, European wars, and in one photo she saw a face that looked familiar, a young soldier in uniform with a serious expression. He looked like Walter, very much like Walter, but the photo was very old and the quality was poor. She couldn't be sure. Monday morning, Emma came to school even earlier. She wanted to find Walter. He was working in the cleaning room, as usual. "Uncle Walter, can I talk to you?" "Of course, Miss Emma. Is there a problem?" "No, I wanted to ask you something." Walter stopped. "What do you want to ask?" Did you fight in World War II?" Walter's expression changed. He put down the broom he was holding. "Why are you asking?" "I was curious. Your age fits, and Miss Emma, the past should stay in the past. But if you fought, this is very important. You could tell the children. History lesson?" "No," Walter said sternly. "There's nothing to tell the children." Emma was surprised. Walter had never spoken so harshly. "I'm sorry. Miss Emma, please let's close this subject." That day, Walter was unusually quiet. Emma realized she had upset him, but her curiosity had also increased. Why was he being so sensitive? Tuesday, Emma tried a different tactic. She tried to see Walter's bag again. During lunch break, she went to the cleaning room. Walter wasn't there, probably cleaning somewhere else. Emma saw the bag, on the table, open. Inside, that photo was visible again. She looked around. Nobody was there. She quickly took the photo. Black and white, corners curled, yellowed with age. A photo from the Normandy landings. A group of soldiers on the beach after the war. And in the center, a young, strong, serious soldier. He looked so much like Walter that she could almost be certain. She looked at the back of the photo. There, in faint handwriting, "Normandy, June 6, 1944. We did it. Walter T." Emma's heart started beating rapidly. Was Walter Thompson at the D-Day landings, in one of history's greatest military operations? "Miss Emma, what are you doing?" Emma turned. Walter was standing in the doorway. His face was very serious. I was just... You're looking at the photo." Emma nodded. "I'm sorry. I was curious and..." Walter approached. He took the photo from Emma's hand. "This is a special photo," he said. "Very special." "Uncle Walter, were you really at D-Day?" Walter remained silent for a long time. Then he nodded. "Yes, I was there." Emma held her breath. "Wow, you're a real war hero." "No," Walter said. "I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who survived." "But D-Day, this is so important, very important in history." "Miss Emma, sit down. I'm going to tell you something." They both sat in chairs in the cleaning room. Walter looked at the photo. "I was 19 years old," he said. "Young, fearless, believing we would win the war. On D-Day, I landed in the first wave." Emma listened quietly. "It was terrible. We lost many friends, but somehow I survived." "What happened then?" "The war ended. I returned home, but the war didn't return with me. I was still on that beach. I was still losing my friend." Emma could understand. PTSD, war trauma. "I struggled for many years," Walter continued. "I couldn't work, couldn't marry, couldn't live a normal life. Then I came here, to this small town, and I found peace here." "Did the children at school give you peace?" Walter smiled. "Yes, children are innocent. They don't see war, they only see fun, games, learning. It was very healing for me." "But why did you hide it? This is a very important story." "Because I'm not a hero. I lost many friends. I couldn't save them. I'm just lucky." Emma touched Walter's shoulder. "You're very modest. You're a real hero." "No, Emma, the real hero stayed there, on the beach." The two people sat quietly for a while. Then Emma spoke. "Uncle Walter, don't you want to tell the children? You know they would respect you much more." "No, they know me as Uncle Walter. That's enough." Emma could understand, but it was very sad. Such a great story had been hidden. "Well, I won't tell anyone," she said. "But I want you to know, You're my hero. Walter smiled. Thank you, Emma. You're a very kind girl. After that, Emma's view of Walter completely changed. He was no longer just the school janitor. He was a part of history, a surviving hero of a great operation. Emma began talking to Walter more. The old man didn't talk much about the war, but he told her many things about life. His experiences, stories, advice. You know how precious life is, Emma said one day. Yes, very precious, and it shouldn't be wasted. Have you ever experienced regret? A lot. But I also learned that experiencing regret doesn't change the past. What's important is being a good person right now. Emma found this very valuable. Walter wasn't just a war hero, he was a wise man with a life philosophy. One day, Emma had a history project in her class. The children were going to research local history. Emma wanted to mention Walter, but she had promised. Children, today we're going to talk about local history, she said. Teacher, has any famous person ever come to our school? Little Tommy asked. Emma thought of Walter. Yes, Tommy, there are very special people, but sometimes they don't introduce themselves. Why? Because real heroes are humble. They don't boast. After the lesson, Emma found Walter. The children asked about you, she said. What did they ask? If there were any famous people at school. Walter smiled. I hope you said no. Yes, but it was very difficult. If the children knew you, they would be very proud. Emma, don't let the children be proud of me. Let them be proud of their own lives. This answer greatly impressed Emma. Walter was truly very humble. Months passed. Emma and Walter's friendship deepened. The old man was giving Emma life advice, and Emma was giving him the energy of youth. One day, Emma's father came to school. He was a retired soldier. Emma, the janitor at school is a very kind man, he said. Yes, Uncle Walter is very good. Is he a veteran? Emma hesitated. Why do you ask? His posture, his gaze. He seemed like a soldier, and he has a small scar on his hand, like a war wound. Emma was curious. What scar? On his left hand, like a shrapnel wound. Emma didn't ask Walter about this, but she looked at the old man's hands more carefully. Indeed, there was a small scar on his left hand. That night, Emma thought about Walter's story. How many secrets did he carry? How much pain? How many memories? The next day, Emma asked Walter a different question. Uncle Walter, do you ever feel lonely? Sometimes, but when there are children around, I'm never alone. Don't you have family? I did. But after the war, everything changed. We lost many people. Emma could understand Walter's pain. War didn't just cause damage on the battlefield. It also destroyed lives afterward. You're a very strong person, Emma said. No, I'm just someone who knows how to live. In November, Veterans Day was approaching. Emma wondered how Walter would face that day. Uncle Walter, do you do anything special on Veterans Day? Walter hesitated. I remember my old friends. How? I look at their photos. I sit quietly and think about them. Emma's heart ached. Walter remembered his lost friends alone every year. You don't have to be alone, Emma said. How? You can share with me. You can tell me about them. Walter's eyes filled with tears. Would you really want that? I would very much. On Veterans Day, Emma met with Walter. The old man had brought out old photos from the war period. This is James, Walter said. My closest friend, 20 years old, from Detroit. He was a very funny kid. Emma looked at the photo, a young smiling soldier. This is Robert, from Boston, very smart, was going to be an engineer. This is Michael from a farming family. He was a very kind kid. Walter told a memory with each photo. His friends' dreams, fears, last words. They were all so young, Emma said. Yes, none of them lived to see 25, but they are the real heroes. Emma was crying, so was Walter. You never forgot them. I never will. They are the reason I live. How? Because I'm living for them, since they couldn't live. I'm living their dreams in their name. These words greatly affected Emma. Walter wasn't just living for himself, he was living for his lost friends. Is this why you work with children? Yes, children are the future. They are the future my friends fought for. Emma hugged Walter. You're a very special person. No, Emma, I'm just doing my duty. From that day on, Emma respected Walter even more. He wasn't just a war hero, he was a life hero. In December, Emma made a decision. She wanted to tell Walter's story in her own way, but she had promised not to tell anyone. Uncle Walter, I want to ask you something. Yes, Emma. Can the children thank you? For what? For your service. Not your service in the war, your service here. Walter thought. How? I don't know, maybe a thank you card. You won't mention the past? No, just your service at school. Walter smiled. That would be nice. Emma told the children to make thank you cards for Walter. She didn't mention his past, just his service at school. Children, Uncle Walter has been working at our school for many years. We want to thank him. The children got very excited. They made beautiful cards. Thank you, Uncle Walter. You're very kind. You keep our school clean. Emma gave the cards to Walter. The old man was very moved. Very beautiful, he said. The children were very thoughtful. They love you very much. I love them very much too. That night, Walter read the cards one by one at home. Each one was very special. The children's pure love had made him very happy. In January, Emma asked Walter one last question. Uncle Walter, do you ever regret it for hiding? Walter thought. No, because I'm very happy here with the children. This is my place. But if the world knew your story, the world doesn't need to know my story. What's important is that children have a good future. Emma smiled. You're very humble. It's not humility. I just know my priorities. This story shows us that real heroes don't always stand in the spotlight. Sometimes they serve quietly in school corridors. Walter Thompson fought in one of history's greatest operations, but his real battle was in his life, with trauma, with loss, with loneliness, and finally, he found peace in children's love. Because real heroes emerge not only on the battlefield, but in every area of life. So, have you ever known someone like this? Someone who serves quietly, hides their past, but has actually done great things? Tell us about them in the comments.